his left, Jess on his right. Hey, hold up, don't start a fight. He's got you covered with all the sports. Don't fret, he's wearing shorts. It's time for Waking Jake in the morning, Waking Jake at night. Jake sucks.
Good morning, Bakers. Good morning, Jake. Wow, our first live show in front of an audience. I guess they're all kind of live shows. No audience. Me and BBD.
No live studio audience.
Me and BBD each have one audience member. It's each other. Hope everyone is doing well. Happy Thursday before Memorial Day. NBA playoffs are rolling. The pitchers, oh boy. Pitchers are starting to get that little shaky hand. Wild scene in St. Louis last night. We'll talk about that a lot. Shout out to my guy Trevor Plouffe, who's been on this topic for a while, and it's finally picking up steam. But first, here at Wake and Jake, we will do the game of the night. And I'm not sorry about it, but the game of the night did come from the best arena on earth, the Mecca, Madison Square Garden. BBD, the Knicks in a win or be the joke of the world game, host the Atlanta Hawks after Trae Young shut them down. And what did they do? They came out with another terrible start. A 27-20 first quarter that felt a lot worse than that for Knicks fans. They finally got some shots to start going down. And then it just continued to get worse. Atlanta wins the second quarter 30-24. Knicks are down 13 at the half. And Julius Randle, their star player who had been so good this year, he gets the most improved player trophy. 0 for 6 with 2 points in the first half. Oh boy, a half to save his season. And luckily for us, and talking Knicks, he had it. He bounces back. He hits a couple big three-point shots. He finishes with 15 points. Reggie Bullock, holy smokes, BBD. What a big game for him, 4 three-pointers. But the Knicks' leading scorer is Derrick Rose, 26 points, 4 assists, 4 rebounds on turn back the clock night. Speaking of, Taj Gibson, how's your plus 23 for the Knicks? And hey, I saw some comments, and we're going to talk about some comments later about Trae Young salt. Trae Young did his thing, man. 30 points, 7 assists, 11 for 20, 4 of 7 from 3. The Knicks crowd all over him. And he responded. Unfortunately, the rest of the Hawks kind of let him down. Danilo Gallinari, 2 of 10 from the field. Bogdan, holy smokes, I didn't realize this. 2 of 13 from 3. I didn't realize.
Second half, he kind of gave nothing.
Didn't realize that until you see the stat line because he was so dangerous early on. Capella big on the boards, but that was it. And DeAndre Hunter hit shots early. But then he kind of went missing, too. A lot of free throws for DeAndre Hunter. How about that? 9 for 11 from the line.
And he missed. The ones he missed were important ones that he missed.
Knicks win in the Garden, 101-92. I mean, I think this was the game of the night. Obviously, you know, me and Beavers are Knicks fans here. But I do think, man, LeBron is tweeting about it. Loud-ass HE double hockey sticks. When the Garden's rocking, there's something special about it. And I saw the tweets were out there. Is it the acoustics? Is it the size? Is it something about that place? Is it just rabid New Yorkers in a basketball arena? Or there is something slightly special about it. And I know that's a joke when the Knicks have been what they have been for the past 20 years or so. But, man, that was a lot of fun last night. Knicks win 101-92. We get to breathe easy for a couple days. BBD, how are you, my beautiful parking in the Bronx friend?
Jake, I'm well. The first 2/3 of that game weren't fun.
Yeah.
Listen to the full thoughts on the latest Talking Knicks. Got that out there.
Add.
Yeah.
Motion.
D Rose came up big. Taj Gibson came up big. Randall turned it on when he had to, and now Game 3 kind of all right. We saw you put it together for a half, so let's do the full thing.
Or the whole game would be awesome instead of the badness.
Yeah.
Again.
But you made me my money, so I'm good.
Yeah, BBD plus 4,000. Most improved
Plus
player.
4,000.
So you're rich.
I'm rich now.
Okay. Venmo at BBD. Don't think that's his Venmo. Venmo that person anyways and request money because that's a power play Venmo account.
Yeah.
We might look into that later. Knicks win 101-92. And it was I think it was the fun online game of the night last night. I mean, it was the 7:30. Everyone, you were either watching because you're a Trae Young stan, you want the Knicks to die, or you want the Knicks to win. So I think almost every NBA fan was tuned in for that. Washington and Philly played. I don't think anyone was tuned in for that, although they do get headlines for another reason that we'll talk about. And then Utah-Memphis was just late, and I think...
Yeah, late, and I think Utah separated pretty early, got Donovan Mitchell back.
It's yeah...
I had it on in the background for a bit, while we were doing Talking Knicks.
Ooh. Yeah, I mean, I knew there was a double dip coming up. I'll be honest, I tapped out. Got my sleep, Rise app ad. So, yeah, hey, happy night for the Knicks. Talking Knicks account did great stuff last night, so if you're into that, go check it out. I don't have the chat popped. I feel so dumb. I went to pop the chat, and I just never did it.
No pop chat.
I need the Thursday chat. If I don't have the Thursday chat, then I have nothing. And I just put myself in a loophole. I'll get there eventually. Let's do BBD. I want to bang out basketball quick. Mm-hmm. We just kind of did.
I do have one more note.
Note from BBD.
I had a moment of reflection. I realized that was the first Knicks playoff win of my adult life.
Saw that.
And also they've won one series since I was in diapers.
So 2013, 8 years ago, you were...
I was 15.
15.
At the time of the playoff run. I turned 15.
Okay.
I turned 16 that year, but...
15
later.
Going on 16. Okay, yeah, no, it's... Perspective is a lot of stuff. We did this with the no-hitter, how you guys were kind of a little more attached to that because of, this was your guys' first.
No.
I am struggling so hard to bring up the chat. I'm being Boomer Trev right now, and I hate it.
I would go through the tweet.
I am. I'm watching us live right now. I don't see the chat, and I feel like a goddamn fool.
Really?
Okay, BBD, let's crank out the basketball because I wanna spend some time on the pitching stuff because it's getting hot, and if you're not ready, get ready. I think stuff's gonna go down this year. I think Joe West might have put it into his own hands.
Joe West got the umpire record and isn't holding back anymore.
Yeah, right. I would be so happy if Joe West ends up taking down the world. BBD, the other basketball games last night, playoff basketball, Philly, they beat Washington 120-95, kind of as you'd expect. I mean, right now, Washington is Beal and Westbrook, and then some of the names are probably deep cuts for you, even if you're an NBA fan, even if you're a Wizards fan, they might be deep cuts for you. I mean, looks like Raul Neto got the start. I remember making fun of him on some bad Jazz teams. Alex Len, Hutchinson, Gill, Gafford. And Russ has a bad night. 2 for 10 from the field, 0 for 3 shooting. Beal kind of does his thing, but, I mean, they don't really have anything for Philly. Simmons, 11 of 15 from the field. Embiid, 8 of 12 from the field. Tobias Harris, 9 of 13 from the field. Sheesh. Curry, 4 of 7. They shoot 56% from the field, 43% from 3. Hang a 120 spot. They're up 2-0. I mean, this is looking like sweep or the Wizards get 1. But that's kind of going. I mean, do you have any comments on that, BBD?
The main comment I've got is coming later.
Ooh.
And yeah, I noticed that both teams emptied their benches.
Okay.
Pretty much. So
well,
it says all you need to know.
The story from this game is that Russ Westbrook gets thrown. Was it nachos? Was
Popcorn.
it confirmed? Popcorn on him. He was around a group of security guards, which worked out for the best because they kind of needed it. It kind of looks like that Avengers elevator meme. I mean, Russ was surrounded by dudes, and they all had to hold him back. And, I mean, yeah, you can't do that, people. Like, Big Cat, and it's where Big Cat is so romantically good for society and sports. Big Cat's had a joke now, and it's kind of not a joke. Is he said professional athletes should be able to fight 1 fan a year.
You get your one pass.
So if you overstep your boundaries, Russ can say, okay, that's my guy. Because fans do take it too far. I mean, we just see this happen too often. And, you know, should that be a reflection of Philly fans? I mean, Philly fans already have a little bit of a resume. But again, whenever these conversation happens, whether it's, you know, racism stuff pops up, or fans yell something dumb. The Yankees fans, they threw stuff on the field. You know, that is the 1% of the 1% of the worst fans that you have. So to have that be the reflection sucks. So I know it's a joke from Big Cat, but I'm almost getting to the point where I'm like, hey, if that actually became a rule, which would mean our society's falling apart a little bit, like, I think almost anyone would be like, if Russ got to fight that guy, I think society would also be like, okay, guy threw popcorn on him. That's not cool. So don't do that. I guess.
I hesitate to give the thumbs up on full on fighting, but
you're not into that.
But like, you should be allowed to like go just stand next to him for a sec, be intimidating, because I mean Russ, yeah, he's a point guard for NBA guys. He's not big, but like, I think he's 6'5", athlete.
Ooh,
Just go stand next to him for a sec. Whoever it is, I'm guessing, will not be happy. He'll see the size difference.
I saw the size. It opened up my eyes. I saw the size. I am in such YouTube hell trying to get the chat. Is everything going well with the stream and everything? I'm seeing.
I mean, to my knowledge,
okay.
I haven't noticed anything.
Seeing some comments.
Oh, well, I think the stream did die.
Okay.
Looking now.
Okay, stream may be dead.
This will be a re-uploaded app.
Okay. Well, that's it sometimes. Uh-oh. Text from Jeff Passan, not a big deal. It's a video of his son playing baseball.
Did you reply to his tweet or something?
I did not. What'd Jeff Passan tweet?
His old boss at Yahoo
Okay.
used to always send videos of like his kid playing and stuff. That guy's kid is making his MLB debut tomorrow.
Oh.
And Passan did have a tweet about like his kid's like 13 and like plays now.
So, if you...
So I don't know how you got involved in it, but...
If you subscribe to Wake and Jake and share with a friend, I'll send you a video of Jeff Passan's kid. I'm not actually going to do that because I think that probably probably gets weird. The reason Jeff Passan sent it, his son's wearing a John Boy Media shirt. So how about that? Baseball, as they say. Let's finish up the basketball right now. Memphis, Utah. Utah wins 141-129. Donovan Mitchell comes back. That's huge for the Jazz because he's their best player. I think Ja Morant, though, is also the storyline in this. He goes for 47-7. I think that's a Memphis playoff record for points. I'll check the recap really quick. But yeah, people were excited. Yeah, Ja Morant's franchise record, 47 points. So that's really cool for him. He's good. We kind of did our Grizzlies conversation the other day that they're young and fun. I do think Game 3, which I'll assume is Friday or Saturday for Jazz Grizzlies, I don't know, must-watch is loose, but if you're a sports fan and you can find that, I mean, in Memphis, crowd should be raucous. The young guys will be home, the Memphis Grizzlies, and if they win Game 3, like, that series is going.
I mean, just forcing and getting through the play-in, forcing a Game 6 on the number 1 seed. You kind of don't need anything else to be very happy with how that went. It's also if you go up 2-1.
It's a really good start for a young team. If they could get a second playoff win in the grinder, what was it, FedEx Forum in Memphis? That's exciting. Ja Morant with 47 points. Dylan Brooks with 23 in 28 minutes, 10 of 14 from the field. Man, the Grizzlies bench got worked. Grayson Allen, minus 23. All of their starters except Morant, so, I mean, that shows you what plus-minus is, were in the positives. Their bench got roasted. Bane, Melton. Georges Niang and Jordan Clarkson, sixth man of the year, had a plus 16. So how about that? And, man, the other thing I want to say, and I missed in the Knicks game, like this Jazz-Grizzlies game, 141-129. I'm going Boomer right now a little bit, so if you're not a Boomer guy, that's fine. 76ers, they put up a $120. Wizards, 95, hold to 40% shooting. Knicks, Hawks, man. That's some old NBA basketball. Hawks shoot 37% from the field. Knicks shoot 38%. There was some good defense. There was also some missed open shots. That was the Knicks' best defense early on, was leaving Hawks shooters open. But, yeah, felt like real NBA playoff basketball where shots fired at Jazz Grizzlies. That doesn't to me. But I guess it's new NBA, whatever. I don't know. Closing NBA thoughts, Bieber?
You nailed it.
Wow. Feel that. The lady who's queen of our building, when I came in today, I had the Yankees jersey thrown over, and she's like, did they play last night? I was like, no, rained out. She's like, oh, okay. So I said doubleheader today, and she's like, oh, is that good for you guys? I was like, kind of. Long day. It's going to be a long day anyways, blah, blah, blah. She's like, oh, yeah. And then there's a pause. She goes, so does Jake suck? Or no, she knows I'm Jake, so she says, so do you suck? And I did reply with, there's only one way to find out. So I kind of flipped the script on her. Got a little dirty. Whoops. That's the NBA. Speaking of dirty, BBD, and I think this is the fun baseball conversation. I'm sure you're going to hear a lot about it on Talking Baseball tomorrow, Chris Rose rotation. You're going to hear about it a lot the rest of the season because it is coming. Trevor Plouffe, I mentioned it at the Open. He has been all over this from the start. That the pitcher's situation with using illegal substances on the ball has gone too far. For years, since the beginning of time, it's been rosin that you see on the mound, the rosin bag. And then what most pitchers have done is got a little sunscreen. When you mix it with rosin, it's supposedly like, it would blow your mind how sticky it is. I really want to do it. I've never done it. I'm assuming it will be a John Boy Media video at some point because everyone goes nuts about it. Have you ever done it? No, right?
No, I mean, I've touched like traditional pine tar, but
I've touched pine tar. I've touched a rosin bag. I've never done sunscreen and rosin. That would be a really good video. We should do that.
You gotta
mentally
get our
write that
hands
down.
on that.
Mentally write that down. And if you have no idea, I mean, a lot of you do. If you're listening to this, you're probably a pretty big sports fan. But, and I don't want to link it directly to the Astros, but, you know,
Coming off the heels of that.
Astros, the Angels guy that got scapegoated recently, all pitchers, you know, kind of spin rate. Bird is the word in pitching. Spin rate is the word. If you get more spin on your fastball, on your off-speed pitches, that translates to better stuff. So, a lot of these substances allow you to get more spin on the ball. And, you know, it's proven very easily. And so, you know, the formula, the recipe that was rumored to be going on in Houston was boiled Coca-Cola mixed with some other sticky stuff, and that created this super sticky substance. And I shouldn't blame it on just the Astros, but a reminder, this is the organization whose mindset was literally, how do we get an advantage at each level of baseball? And it started with getting the best draft picks we could. And then it started with stealing signs, and then it went to pitcher substance. So they aren't the only people that are in the pitcher substance area. Just mentioned the Angels had that guy that got thrown under the bus. And then any pitcher operates alone, pretty much. Like, you work on your stuff, you find a way to get better, and then, you know, in that article that came out about the Angels guy, they connected him to Garrett Cole. They connected him to a bunch of visiting pitchers that when they would go there, they'd ask him for the sticky stuff. So it's going to be really interesting to see, because this had kind of been a story for the past year or two, but me and Jim would lay it on pretty thick with Trev and be like, nobody cares.
Yeah.
Nobody cares. I mean, it's whatever for pitchers. Like, people just don't care. I'm sorry. You tell the average baseball fan or you tell the average sports fan that pitchers are doing something to get 200 more RPM spin on their fastball. That does nothing. It does nothing.
And for so long, the narrative was, and I guess for a long time, it was literally just to get a little extra grip when it's like cold weather or an overly hot day, and it wasn't like providing a direct, like tangible advantage.
Right. And the pitcher said forever it's to grip the ball better so we don't hit batters.
And I think for a long time it was true, but...
Well, and that's where, and this is insane, that batters and pitchers, sunscreen and rosin, they've already mentally had a firm handshake. We're good on that. Like, if that helps you grip it a little bit, like, baseball players, hitters appreciate that to a degree. The rosin bag's on the mound, sunscreen because we play a sport outside for 3 hours, firm handshake.
Can't tell you to not wear sunscreen and have it around.
It works, and that's why they haven't put rules around it. Because I think the other thing is, and I think Archie Bradley, a couple guys on the Chris Rose rotation have talked about it, that before it's hot, when you try to use rosin and sunscreen, they compare it to throwing a cue ball.
Mm-hmm. I think that was Broughton, Trevor Williams.
Williams, yes, on Chris Rose rotation earlier this week. Right? Yeah, Monday's
that was the Monday app.
Archie Bradley back
today.
How about that? So, I say all of this is multiplying. Mike Schilt and the Cardinals last night, Giovanni Gallegos, former Yankees farmhand, traded for Luke Voit and has been a really good relief pitcher for St. Louis. Comes into the game yesterday, and before he throws a pitch, country Joe West comes out to the mound. They're talking, and he says the hat's got to go. And Gallegos had a spot on his hat where, you know, there's something up there. But I don't think it was funny business. I think it was just like rosin sunscreen, or at least that's what everyone's alluding to.
Or it was what you see half the league.
Every pitcher does it.
Everyone's got their spot. But
So Schilt comes out. He gets tossed. And he gives a 10-minute press conference that our Trevor Plouffe retweeted and got a lot of love on. It's out on the internet. If you have 10 minutes and you are a sports fan, not a baseball fan, a sports fan, go watch it. It is incredible. John Boy's got the breakdown on the way. But Schilty lays it all out there. All out there. He talks about the situation on the mound today. He goes, if we're going to start doing this, we're going to start doing this, man. Like, why are we targeting my guy, Giovanni Gallegos, who his stuff is nasty anyways. Schilt has an incredible quote midway through the interview where he says, because Gallegos goes out and he has an 8-pitch inning or a 6-pitch inning. I'll double check. But Schilt has a quote where he says, go check the 8 pitches he threw, or is that too small of a data sample? Because he was so good that inning, he got out of it in 8 pitches. So he throws a little shade there, and he just lays it all out, man. Like, if we're going to start doing this, he talks about how pitchers go check the guys who go to their glove every time. And one of the best lines I'd heard that, and BBD, correct me, because you're on Talking Baseball with us, something that I hadn't noticed, which was like kind of an inner circle baseball thing, is he said, watch the guys that don't lick their fingers, because those are the guys with the funny business substance on their hands. So actually, if someone's licking their fingers, they're not using the bad stuff, because that's stuff you don't want to put in your mouth.
Probably not using the next level stuff.
Which is some, like, preschool type shit that we have going on the field right now. But that was a whoa moment for me. Like, wow, I didn't think we're doing that. So Schilt goes on for 10 minutes about how could you be targeting my guy. He's not the guy to target. He says before he did the presser, he talked to his pitchers, basically saying he was going to do this. And he said, can I tell you with 100% that some of my guys aren't doing funny business? No. But I know the room I talked to was like okay with me doing this. So we're on a little bit of an MLB witch hunt right now. And we just talked about this with Eno Saris. Like, go watch that episode. We dabbled into this topic a little bit, and since then, it keeps multiplying. Josh Donaldson, Trevor Plouffe's 70-30 hitting coach on the internet. He was going last night. His tweet, I want to read this verbatim because it's unbelievable. Oh, Yankees roster move. Kluber to the IL, Voit to the IL.
Yep.
Florial and Albert Abreu. Holy smokes.
There isn't another 40-man position player to call up, so.
That makes sense.
And I guess a doubleheader today, so they haven't. I think they're going to announce the 26th.
Florial made his debut in a doubleheader last year, I believe.
Yeah, he was the 26th man.
Against the Mets. Okay, so that's interesting in Yankee land. Back on topic, let me find my guy, Josh Donaldson, because this was
coming up this weekend.
This was so good. I wonder if it's Krisky or something. So Josh Donaldson engaged with Dallas Braden, and Dallas said Joe West has backed his umpires and the league into a corner. He's gonna make somebody enforce it or be damned. Josh Donaldson replied, so good tweet, 1 of 1 from Josh Donaldson. Crazy idea here, but I'm going to throw it out there. Stop cheating. Good tweet, Josh Donaldson. And then Dallas gives a, pine tar, rosin, sunscreen, other stuff, blah, blah, blah. What's going on? What's the president? Blah, blah, blah. Donaldson says, yeah, I agree. He says, I have an entire catalog of video of these guys cheating. It's coming out. Whoa! So watch out for your favorite pitcher and what could be coming in the coming months. Or I wonder if this is going to scare any pitchers, or I wonder, and this is normally what happens with baseball, nothing probably happens until we get another incident. Maybe they ride out this whole season and we're saving it for the CBA. But this topic will be taking over baseball for the rest of this season. And man, God, oh no. Rest in peace, Jimmy's DMs and mentions. Jom already gets a ton of people saying, look at this, check out this guy, check out that guy. Holy smokes, that's going to be turned up to 11. Because guess what? Every pitcher has... Let's start with the good guys that just use rosin. A lot of them keep it on their hat. You'll see the white mark on the hat. They go up there, keep it going. Belt, glove, back of the neck. If you're a baseball fan, you see it. And pitchers go back to that well regularly. It is going to be crazy to see how this continues to develop, and I don't know the answer. I don't know if the umpires get more involved. Imagine if the umpires start checking for funny business on the mound regularly. I doubt it. I do think Joe West is a factor here, just crossing his threshold of most games ever umped. BBD, I talked a lot, and I didn't really get to an answer, so I will kick it to you for whatever needs to be said.
Yeah, well, last year everyone was worried about them cracking down on it and everything coming off the Astros stuff, and I think they said umpires were going to be allowed to just call it out. I don't think they were going to, but I remember that was the talk of spring training first go around.
Right.
That stuff's going to happen. So it's looked like it was going to come, just this conversation going to come to a head soon.
At some point.
And now, I guess we're here. As recently as 2 days ago, I still thought we were at least a year away. I figured they'd probably want to just get through CBA stuff first before really addressing it. Maybe it's all going to be part of it.
Yeah.
And I don't know what side people are on, because I guess half the league is... I guess it's less than half, because there's pitchers that are against it too, and I think every hitter just about doesn't like it. So I guess most of the players want it gone, and I would assume the league would like it gone.
Yeah.
So who's going to use it as leverage if it's going to be part of that?
And that's where, hitters are 100% against it. No argument there. The pitchers, and the other thing that sparked this the other day was JT Realmuto when he came out. So that's also been a part of this kind of tumble spiral that's happening. And I think it was Eno that did that. So go listen to the Eno ep if you haven't. Man, you just wonder where the pitchers lie. Are they going to start turning on each other? Because that's where the Chris Rose rotation had Steven Brault and Trevor Williams. They said they wanted out of the game.
Yeah.
So,
they called it cheating.
That's the line we don't know, is how many pitchers? Is it 80-20 people that are using illegal stuff? Is it 20-80 people that are using illegal stuff? Is it less? Is it more? I don't know. But this story is going to continue, and man, God, imagine the dilemma that some pitchers have put themselves in. What if you were one of the guys that has been using the sticky stuff? Because a lot of people have. And you're just hey, if that guy's doing it, I'm going to do it. Do you stop? Does your fastball get worse the rest of the year? We've got numbers that track that. So, is it a get ahead of it situation? Is it just hope it never happens to you? I don't know, man. I just know that this is going to be a talking point for the rest of the year in baseball. I'm happy for Trev. I just got a little sad for John Boy, because that's going to be... I think he's going to have some tough days in the mentions. But I'm interested to see. In the last week, this has already snowballed. We laughed at Trev for a while, because we were dude,
Recently.
nobody cares.
This offseason.
Nobody cares. We'll see, man. It's definitely a problem, but nobody cares right now. I'd say in the last week, from JT Realmuto to Chris Rose rotation, Brault and Trevor Williams, to now Joe West and Schilt and Gallegos' hat.
Donaldson
tweeting about it. We went from, I think, on a scale of 1 to 100, people caring about it, like Knicks fans in the Garden last night being 92 out of 100, to me telling stories about how well I parked today being a 2 out of 100. I think this was probably a 5 on the interest scale. Like if you were,
Especially you go big scope.
if you're really into baseball, it's obviously was a little higher. This is a topic. If you're a casual baseball fan, you kind of didn't care.
Yeah. You like sports and like baseball a little bit.
This is the part that always gets me hot, is because if you are kind of a casual baseball fan, you turn it on when you're home, you don't care too much, you watch your team when you can, you catch a weekend game or you don't, it doesn't matter. You'd assume that the league would patrol the ball and what pitchers are putting on it. But they haven't. They haven't. And that's where we're at this moment in time where if this snowball keeps rolling, I wonder where we land by the All-Star break, by the end of the season, by the playoffs. I mean, that's where I just got sad for Jim's DMs. I mean, the pitcher that's going to be touching his belt before every pitch, that's 50 tags for Jim on the internet. So I don't know. I'd assume we ride through the season and it's just he said, she said of fans pointing at each other saying your guy cheats, no, your guy cheats. But I don't know. In the past week, this went from a 5 out of 100 to like a 50 out of 100. Like, people care. Rosenthal's tweeting about it. Like, it's in the ether. Pitchers have talked about it. Broughton Williams, Real Muto's talked about it. Josh Donaldson, like, it's not going to go away.
Yeah. And even like you're a diehard big picture baseball fan, like you listen to Talking Baseball. Even before, like he was probably only like a 20. Like you cared a lot more than most people. Now, like it's probably towards the front of your mind. It's like a 70, 80 out of 100, like on the scale we're using. Like it's it's very much a thing now.
It is. It is. So I don't know how it ends. I'm interested to find out, but yeah, this topic is going to be here the rest of the way. Playoff hockey is happening. We know nothing. We know literally nothing about it.
I don't have a guess for what's happening.
Islanders won their series. Lightning won their series. Minnesota, Vegas going to a Game 7. That's probably a good watch. So, okay. We'll see what's going on there.
One of our accounts just got a retweet from Dontrell Willis, and that was a funny name to see pop up on my phone.
I just had that pop up as well. Thanks, Dontrell. Thanks, D-Train. Jeez, Mets and Rocks are already playing. We got baseballs live right now. Yeah. BBD, we've got a big day ahead. So I think
get it moving.
Yeah, I think we start pushing, which on Wake and Jake means we are going to the comment of the day. The comment of the day is brought to you by Chris Rose Rotation. Go check it out. Just plugged it a couple times. Why not? It's the best. I had a friend reach out to me, an extended friend. Only hung out with him on a bachelor party friend. And
one bachelor party hangout?
One bachelor party hangout. Walter, my guy. And he asked me, I can bring up, what are the popular, there's All the Smoke with Gilbert Arenas, I believe. And then there's that other I Am Athlete. That podcast, it's like Ocho Cinco, Brandon Marshall. It's a popular podcast show. You've seen it on the internet. He asked me, he's like, hey, you're probably the guy to go to for this. I was like, he's like, does baseball have one of these? And I was like, that's interesting. Like, kind of a players roundtable, like, letting it out. Like, no rules. I was like, honestly, I'm a little biased. I think Chris Rose Rotation is the closest thing to that. It's obviously a little more buttoned up because Chris Rose has been a TV personality for 20 years.
And he's the sounding board on which the players go off.
Yeah, and he's like good.
He's good at that.
Yeah, like that's what
it's not like exactly what he's talking about, but
yeah, I think there's a world, and hopefully it's John Boy Media one day where it's a player hosted show where players come on and it's no holds bar, like empty the chamber, nothing holding back. We don't the Chris Rose rotation. That's not there. That's not the vibe, but you do get some of the stories. Like Archie Bradley today told a really good story about one of his former teammates. Whenever the plane took off, he used to just start making funky noises. And by the way, it's one of my favorite all-time players, so I would go check that out. I'm not even going to give it away. Go check out Chris Rose rotation. The comment of the day, I asked you guys to bake the algorithm, and you guys do a killer job of it. Our subscribers were up to 234, actually, on the main page. I saw that.
Oh, yeah.
A little discrepancy there. 2, 3, 4. So we'll get to 3. We'll get to 10. We'll get to 1 million. I appreciate you guys. Ruben Jimenez, I've never been more in awe of a balding 22-year-old in my life. My life in all caps. Travis Smith with a fit Jake is the best Jake. There's a lot of back and forth about me on the internet right now. Some fat comments, some fitter than they'd think. Really cover the spectrum on that.
Yeah.
I can do both.
You can manipulate your look
with
different outfits.
I can be fatter than you think or fitter than you think. It kind of lands on you a little bit.
Knicks just banned the spitter.
Good.
He's the only guy not wearing a mask in the mask section, so easy catch.
How about it? Let's see. Michael Werner, this take may go very cold in literally like 2 weeks and even years to come, but Trae Young and Devin Booker remembered the same way. I mean, that's heavy, man. Remembered is so weird in basketball. Like, Devin Booker could somehow end up on the Lakers next year. Or Trae Young on the Lakers in 2 years, and that changes just how you're viewed. Like, Anthony Davis was a really good player on the Pelicans.
Now he's won a championship.
And now he's on a championship, and he's
on a perennial contender.
There's days when he's better than LeBron, and blah, blah, blah. So that's tough. That's interesting. I see what you're saying. I think both were kind of disrespected to a degree because they put up a lot of stats on bad teams.
Yes.
And so another comment on here was Wubs50 said, "Love you, Jake, but I think the rest of the NBA likes Trae Young, except Knicks fans. LOL, dude is a stud." And I actually want to segue this into my bro of the night.
Oh.
And I'm going to give it to Trae Young. And I think people are going to be surprised by that. Trae Young in a loss. And I wouldn't say I'm tweeting the nicest things at Trae. But I'm not tweeting the meanest things at Trae either. Trae Young, I've actually liked Trae Young. BBD, you're kind of my witness on this because you've heard me say this, and a lot of the Bakers are, is that Doncic was taken, they're going to be compared forever because of the trade, same draft, etc. And Doncic has been nasty and revolutionary. I asked...
He's probably the number one, the Family Feud answer for the next guy who's going to be the best player in the league.
That's what I asked you guys the other day. Like, is there going to be a day when Luka Doncic is the number one NBA player? And, there'd be pretty good odds on that. And think about that. The best basketball player in the world, Luka Doncic.
The clear-cut number one.
That's nuts. That being said, I've always defended Trae Young because if you had to compare one human on this planet right now to Steph Curry, it'd be Trae Young. It'd be Trae Young. And, man, I said, after the game when Trae Young told him it's quiet as fuck in here, I said Trae Young is climbing up people's most hated players list. Hated doesn't mean you're not good. Hated, I saw Ashland came out with the quote, good players don't get hated, great ones do.
You might be a great player.
Man, Trae, and this is where I respect the hell out of it, back to his Oklahoma days, like, he got hated pretty easily because he's kind of the smallest guy in the court, and he gets buckets from everywhere, and he talks that shit.
It's just a nuisance to like have to play against and watch play against your team.
Just means, man, a lot of the opposing teams are going to hate Trae. Don't get me wrong. I think it's fun. I think it's good for basketball. I think he's a star. And, man, the Garden was all over him last night, and he still did his thing. And, man, if his teammates got a couple more buckets last night, we would be saying a lot different things about Trae Young right this morning. And I will see what happens with Trae Young. Defensively, it's always going to be tough. Like, we'll see what happens. But it's the same thing with Curry. Go check out some of those Curry playoff series. The Cavs attacked him every play. Their offense was get the mismatch versus Curry. It was try to get LeBron on Curry, and then if it wasn't LeBron, whoever stuck on him, go at him. And we'll see if the Knicks take more of an approach like that at Trae. They haven't fully yet. A little more last game.
Yes.
But they still haven't, like, tried to bring him down low. They were almost bullying him on the perimeter. Like, you can't guard me out here.
They did some weird stuff where they'd, like, have either RJ or Randall, like, kind of on him, and it was like,
yeah,
go. there were a bunch of times you're like, go.
Tim,
blank on who the other guy was that like it was like a clear mismatch that they would get a few times, but Trae was the main one.
Trae, again, I said his numbers earlier. He was really good. Don't
dropped 30 again.
Don't get it twisted.
He'll always have the defensive limitations, and there's. So I think there's a clear ceiling on what he'll be able to do on that end of the floor. Just the size is going to catch him. I think Steph, in many ways, was able to reach that ceiling. He had teammates around him that allowed him to, he could take possessions off on one end of the floor and give everything. Like we saw, the same thing happened with KD the second he showed up at Golden State. He was like, "Oh, you're like you are a world-class defender. You just when you are the only guy on the team, you can't do that."
Small.
Steph would be like, yeah, you can turn on like a good defensive possession, good team defense, one-on-one, just the size. There's a ceiling to what you're going to be able to do.
Yeah.
Steph, I think, did reach that at one point. And Trae might. I think he has more. There's an element of skill he's missing there because he's still young.
Steph Curry changed the way basketball is played.
On the other end of
I know that's the generic line, but also Steph Curry's age 23 season in Golden State, he put up 14.7 points per game, 5.3 assists. Golden State, he got hurt that year, but he was 23. Like, Trae Young did 1 year of school. Trae Young, his age 22 season, on a good Hawks team, because last year, his numbers are slightly more impressive, but they sucked. This year, the 5 seed Atlanta Hawks, Trae Young,
tied for the team that's the 4th seed. Same record.
25.3 points per game, 9.4 assists, 4 rebounds. Like, the dude's a stud. And what you do have to do, and this is, the Luka Trae Young argument, like, Luka works anywhere. Trae Young, you do have to build a team around him. Like, you kind of can't have another weak defender. Because then if you got 2 guys that you could pick on, it doesn't work. Like, Trae Young's team is always going to need probably an elite rim protector. But guess what? In the NBA, you can get those guys. They got Capella for free, basically.
They were willing to pay his contract.
What are the Knicks going to do with Mitch Robinson? Look what the Knicks have done with Nerlens Noel. Like, if that's part of the solution that needs to be on a Trae Young team,
you can fill that role.
That's fine, man. So, don't get it twisted. I think Trae Young is going to be disliked by a lot of people. But that's good. Bryce Harper's
that's
disliked
not an
by a lot of
indictment
people.
on him.
No. Like, I don't know. Trae Young. And by the way, two playoff games right now for Trae. He's shooting 50% from 3. He's averaging 31 points per game, 8.5 assists, 4 rebounds. And both those were on the road in the Garden. who the Knicks were the best defensive team in the NBA this year. So, Trae Young. Take that, Salt.
Yeah, and he hasn't. I mean, yes, yesterday he went 4 for 7 from 3. The game 1, he only got 3 threes off. Like one for 3 was a pedestrian.
He did it all in the paint.
He hasn't had his big 3-point game, and I think one of these games in Atlanta, just mathematically, he's gonna have a big 3-point game, I think. But
you'd assume so.
On the flip side, the Knicks have been elite at eliminating 3-point opportunities for just the league. So I don't know, something to watch. My bro of the night. I'll keep it short and sweet. It's going to Ben Simmons.
Wow.
We were pretty hard on him for putting up, scoring wise, a rather pedestrian stat line in game 1 against a Wizards team he in theory should do well against. But 11 to 15 from the field, still very, very close to a triple double. He finishes 22, 9, and 8 in a comfortable win for the Sixers. The result's not surprising, but we were hard on him on Monday.
Yeah.
So
Ben Simmons, man. How old is Ben Simmons now?
He's somehow still young, I think. I think he's
24, turns 25 in July.
He's not even 25 yet.
Man, I bet I would love, and maybe there's a day when I get to this point, maybe there's not. I would love to poll NBA GMs and say, you get either Simmons or Trae Young. Who do you take? What do you think the splits would be?
I think you'd still take Ben Simmons, but I wouldn't be shocked to hear somebody pick Trae Young. It probably is Ben Simmons because he does so much on the offensive end, even without the shooting. And forever we've been saying, if you can shoot it all, which I don't know if it'll happen, but he's a world-class defender.
Are they just completely inverted basketball players? Yeah.
Kind of. They both get a lot of assists.
They both do pass. That's right. Besides the passing.
Very good facilitators.
I would love to know the answer, and I'm probably going to bring this up in our basketball group chat right now because I'd love to know what they say. But yeah, defense, no shooting, great passing, elite defense, I should say.
Yeah.
Versus
Ben Simmons is a defensive player of the year candidate.
Bad defense.
I don't know where he was even a finalist this year, but
bad defense, elite shooting, elite offense. I don't know. I would love to hear. Maybe that's
elite
the comment.
Free throw shooting. Yeah.
If you're listening to this, go on the tube, go on the podcast app, and tell me if you'd rather have Trae Young or Simmons, and why would be great. Because right now, the differentiators, I don't know. They're just opposite players, except passing. Good bro of the night. Good stuff.
on the Google for Ben Simmons, because looking up his age, under his current teams tab, it's Philadelphia 76ers and Team LeBron. All-star team.
Good squad.
Can't believe that shows up. Google's stupid.
That is funny. All right, BBD, we got to wrap it up. We got a big day. Big day. I think we're going to see some Yankee baseball live. Guys, John Boy Media Network mentioned Talking Knicks. We're running hot. So is Talking Nets, baby. The Hoops Pods. Compound. Good one. Talking about getting mic'd up. Mansplain Baseball. John Boy Jake Radio. Tim Locastro on yesterday. The Fast Things Draft. That was a lot of fun. Talking baseball yesterday with Eno. Tomorrow, the recap ep. Hint, might see some Chris Rose, actually. Talking Giants versus the world. Chris Rose rotation and up ads. Everything on John Boy Media. Go sports. Have a good sports weekend. Bake the algorithm. Bake it. Like, review, share, dance, love.